RationalInvestor.com's Daily Brief. The answer to your question is learn the goddamn process, trade your trading plans, don't take too much risk on any one trade, and just let yourself get rich. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the RationalInvestor.com's Daily Brief. Woohoo, party. No. Wow, some pretty interesting developments happening in the crypto space overnight. Mr. CZ, I guess, basically kowtowing to all the political pressure. I was quite surprised to see that. Of course, quite a bit of our community is crypto related. So, kaboom! Man, that guy's got a big head. Look how many brains are inside that guy's head, though. Holy moly. Anyway, pleads guilty to money laundering charges. Kaboom! I don't know what kind of money they're going to have to spend. I mean, I think they're saying they want something like $4 billion. So, wow. No idea if this is going to put Binance under or not. I suppose that's just pocket change for a rich guy like CZ. Yeah, here's a couple Bitcoins. Pay you guys off. But anyway, who knows? So that was pretty startling news. But if anything, it kind of makes sense because I think they really want to shill this Bitcoin story to all the pension funds and mutual funds and fidelities and all those kind of things. So I don't think you can actually move forward. Wow, these kind of clouds are overhanging the market. So fascinating to see that shoe has finally dropped. Kaboom! Anyway, did see that. I mean, I won't show it on the public broadcast. But crypto breadth is back flashing major warning signs again. So be careful, everybody. Actually, interesting too. Yeah, I haven't really got an overbought or oversold market state. About a week or two ago, we had all of the altcoins just going absolutely insane, uber bullish. And you can kind of see on the price charts, they are starting to top out. I suppose we will have a Coinigy show tonight, being Wednesday. This every second Wednesday we do a show with Joe. So we'll go through lots of altcoin names and look at all that price chart action in detail for the public tonight. So be sure to see if you can tune in for that. I'll try and put it out on the Twitter feed, and maybe we can have the TRI PMA feed also retweet that, just so you know it's coming this evening. Actually, I was told by the marketing department that actually we've added on the front page of the site, sort of our marketing arm, if you will, the user's guide to the site that Josh so excellently put together. And what's so cool about Josh is he knows how the whole sort of internet game works and how you interact with the public online and stuff. And so these images and the way that he's laid everything out here, it's so crisp. So be sure to get that if you are interested in the site, just to have a nice little sort of overview guide of how the platform works. As well too, shameless plug, it is Black Friday, so all that kind of fun stuff. So we do have a package deal, which is actually a pretty big discount for the dashboard, the pro package with the various different screeners that I have on my screener page. The pro package has all of these tabs, so like things like the weekly commodity trend survey, but also a whole bunch of screeners that I've built, as well as our crypto universe and the broader market breadth signals and all that. Give that some serious consideration. It's a pretty substantial discount for this Black Friday deal. And also too, our new educational program will start on January 1st, like typical school. But being Black Friday, if you do decide to enroll in this, you get basically site membership, the basic silver membership to the site until the school starts. So you can If anything, I've had lots of people tell me that this library alone, with like all of our different setups and tons of videos for you to watch, lectures by TRI and Brian, but also, all of our Coinigy shows and third party instructionals, daily brief specials, all that. I mean, that you could spend probably a year just in this library, just picking everything apart. So anyway, there's your Black Friday shill. I think that the prices that we charge are ridiculously cheap. Yeah, maybe take advantage of it if you can. And gotta say, I absolutely love the professional feel for that the team has really put together, putting all these pages together. This is a step up from 1980s Brian's website, where this algorithm I first built it a million years ago, but everybody looks at the site and goes, "Oh, turn the neon off." Anyway, okay, so let's get on with sort of the broader market commentary. We are coming into US Thanksgiving holiday weekend. Everybody's about to get their turkey fix, I guess, for the season coming up here down in the States. Not really a holiday around the rest of the world. So it's one of these kind of quasi-holiday kind of weekends. It's going to be a little bit wonky. And of course, the banksters, they love to play with the markets through these. So be careful, crypto kids. When we have these holiday weekends, you often see some pretty wild price action around crypto being unregulated market, all that kind of fun talk. And as I said, if you do subscribe to the crypto dashboard, you'll see that the warning signs are pretty obvious. So you better be careful in this space. Don't chase. You've heard that a million times from Brian. It is interesting to see the stock market itself continuing to sort of climb the wall of worry here. I think probably the biggest worry overnight was how was NVIDIA's earnings going to be received. And interesting, they rallied the market right up, basically cleaned out the old highs, ran stops, ding, 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 all that kind of fun stuff. And you might argue there's pretty strong momentum here. This push to new highs, probably not so much. And indeed, you can see MACD momentum divergences. Willie is officially stupidly overbought. The bulls didn't really bother showing up through all that. And you can see just even these past 2 days, the bears have come out in size here. So be forewarned. That's probably the best way to describe that. I mean, I suppose a good thing is this head and shoulders pattern, it is basically negated, but at the same time too, this is a pretty typical sort of stock market maneuver where actually one of my favorite cartoons of all times was, and then we went after the stops, where these guys, they all buy the market up through all this, and their sole purpose is to try and get the price just to go above here. So anybody that did say short this M top and had their stop loss order up here, ding, 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 they get stopped out. That becomes a market buy order. And the guys that bought in through here to push up, they sell into those market buy orders and they make some nice money. Easy peasy. So anyway, interesting. And the number itself was actually pretty attractive. You can't argue. I mean, geez, look at this. 19% surprise to the upside in earnings and 11% surprise in overall revenue. I think the reason why the market's coming off here a bit is this is getting kind of nosebleedy valuations, and their guidance for like what should the street expect going forward. They've been sort of cautionary that the next year or two is probably going to be a little bit tougher than the past couple of years. And also too, I think there's a lot of sort of conjecture about the United States and China are kind of, not on the most friendliest terms right at the moment. I think Winnie coming to San Francisco there a week or two ago, I think they're trying to thaw the situation out a bit. And, Biden, he's getting so old, how old people are very set in their ways. You saw his Secretary of State. Is Winnie the Pooh still a dictator? Damn right, the guy's a totalitarian dictator. And the Secretary of State's like, oh God, don't say that, don't say that. So I think NVIDIA is kind of like, the backdrop, China situation. If things get hot, our revenues might come off here a bit. So just be forewarned. So I think that sort of explains a little bit about what's going on. Fascinating. Lots of analyst upgrades here and them actually boosting price targets to the upside. And yet, ironically enough, the stock's selling off. So go figure. Anyway, I think that's probably the biggest sort of stock market driver here today ahead of this holiday weekend. Over in commodities land, you got a pretty big dump in crude oil overnight. I've been, for whatever it's worth, I've been counseling that if it wasn't for that stupidity around all that sickness, I actually think that crude would have probably just been very comfortably in a bear market now, like literally for the next 10 years easily. It is interesting, just this recent counter trend rally has just completely stalled out here, and now M structure tops. And if we do things like draw fog and bombs and stuff off of these highs, probably odds are we got to head back right back down into these original bottoms here. And the price itself just extremely volatile. The news or the justification, and as you can see, this is a pretty precipitous drop. Actually, they've taken quite a bit of that drop back. The news was that Saudi Arabia tried to get OPEC all on the same page with regard to production cuts. But, I've been trading crude oil forever. If it's one thing you can absolutely depend on, it's on the members of OPEC cheating and accidentally selling more crude oil than the cartel is supposed to be selling. That's like a hallmark of OPEC. That's just what they do. And then, of course, the Russians, they'll throw in as much oil as they possibly can on top of it. The difference there, of course, is Russian oil is considered dirty oil, so it doesn't get nearly the premium that the Saudi light sweet and West Texas tea and all that kind of stuff gets. But anyway, point of the matter here, woke up this morning, crude oil was substantially off. I did take the opening range trade just like a boss. This is what we're supposed to do. This is our plan for this top step little combine that we're running. And we had another slightly profitable day. This one was tricky. You had to have your order working right away. But in essence, opening range, we puked out through the lows on 1-to-1. I take a little bit of profits, move my stop to scratch, and then instantly was stopped at scratch. So on the remaining. But on balance, got to be somewhat happy. 3 opening range trades taken this week, and all 3 of them produced minor profitable days. So what the hell counts profitable? Positive, and more importantly, and I've said this to you guys repeatedly, I'm all about trying to be the demonstrator of best practices. So it's not really like in fact, actually, I even taught a class yesterday, and I wanted to show them one of my futures tradings account. I have a futures tradings account that's sitting there with a huge cash just balance just sitting there in the account, and I'm not trading it. I'm trading this combine for Top Step. And the point here is I don't need to be trading the futures to make money from trading. As I said, the big goal for me here is try and demonstrate this stuff on a regular basis and demonstrate good behavior. So I suppose I was thinking about hunting along here in crude this morning. I mean, you can see this was an odd divergence. I had a really pretty bear div set up in gold yesterday, and we did that trade for the site people shorting this double top. This is the kind of bear div that I absolutely love, where it's just nice and clean, nice clean breakdown, nice and simple, Willie stupid, RSI divergent, the whole thing. Sold up top here, bottom back into the close. Yeah, it's a nice demonstration day of best practices. So I was looking at the crude this morning. I was kind of like, there's probably some sort of bottom in here. We did have EIA today, so unfortunately at 7:30 had a big injection of fundamentals. And ironically enough, the fundamental news, and I do see this happens quite a bit in crude. I think what happened overnight, along with that OPEC sort of talk, basically the Saudis put off their most recent meeting that they're going to have to try and fix prices because they can't get the cheaters to stop cheating. But at the same time, too, every Wednesday we have crude oil inventories come out. And you can see that if you were like trading this purely on fundamentals, you would be like, well, what the hell's going on here? They had a crude oil inventories. Look at this build, 8.7 million barrel build, when the consensus was looking for a 1 million. Now, isn't that slightly bearish? So what ends up happening? And really, this is a good lesson for all of you guys and girls and houseplants. That EIA number came out right there. So, the market's absolutely on its knees, down like $3.50. This is a really good example of sell the rumor, then the actual news comes out and it's bearish as bearish can be. But what does price do? It actually goes up. That doesn't make any sense. So really, really good example of sell the rumor, buy the news. Suppose if I was trading this, although I don't really like to trade these formations because there's just too much risk, but hopefully you can see this. Looks like a nice inverted head and shoulders came in here through that event. So, your objective should be, is a pretty simple measured move. From the head back to the neckline, clone the neckline, move, and then project that off of the neckline breakout. So interesting. There's the 200 SMA. And it also, too, this makes sense. There's a nice pivot high. There's probably a nice liquidity pool up there, and then we went after the stops. You heard me talking about that earlier. But it looks to me like they want to bring the market right back up into this area. And there it goes. It's happening as we speak. But the interesting thing about this too, and you could also take this away from this. I didn't trade this, but it's good information. Usually markets don't like to move more than about 2.5% on the day. So you can see with this market down like $3, it was like crude was off like 4%. And actually, it was so big that when you actually pulled up the news headlines this morning, that was basically what was across the headlines. Whoops, that was, I guess, yesterday's. OPEC oil tumbles as OPEC meeting delayed. Oh, there's a crude's down like 4%. So if you ever see a situation like that, at the very least, you should be thinking, well, markets like generally to move about 2.5%. And then once you get to that 2.5%, people start going, oh, wow, that's pretty noticeable. Sure enough, that 4% was just too much. And here we are. We're now down about 2.5%. So my hunch is probably into the end of the day. They probably want to finish it out somewhere around this area. That wouldn't surprise me. Actually, interesting. Look how that inverted head and shoulders right into that 200 SMA. Basically, price stopped right there. I would expect if this does set up a short that you would see maybe a little bit of a higher high push, but it'd be on weaker momentum, i.e. sets up that momentum divergence concept. And if you get an M, then you can sell it off. Considering how late it is in the session here, we're heading into this holiday weekend. I certainly wouldn't be taking a trade here on this for the rest of the day. The business is done. If you were fortunate enough to grab this market off the bottom and ride it up, probably best bet to ring the register here a bit and pay yourself and declare victory. What's interesting about the stock market is actually they opened it up, very, very strong right out of the gate here this morning, and then just absolute insane volatility back and forth. So we're up about 0.5% on the day. I think on balance, that looks like how they want to take this market out. It'd be interesting to see whether NVIDIA can recoup some of those losses. But I think that that's a pretty substantial sort of negative. And if anything, this kind of makes sense because we've had a huge rally in tech, a huge rally in the stock market, right? If we look at this on like say a 4-hour chart, and of course the breadth indicator has been long for a pretty long time here. If anything, the one thing I'd probably be wanting to ask is, have we got the market at any kind of like extreme for overbought or oversold? Not really, eh? I mean, the broader stock market is still pretty flat. So, in a weird sort of way, based on the histogram, I think this market still has room to move higher. But I wonder whether maybe there just needs to be a check. Notice like here we went through a couple days where we had to check back against that moving average. So they are getting a little bit far apart. So, we probably should be cognizant of that. And that's kind of like this. I mean, can you stretch the rubber band in one direction for too long before it has to snap back? And then also too, we are coming into this holiday weekend, but following the holiday weekend, usually you get kind of like and the only way I know how to describe it is like a hangover after all the turkey and all the tryptophan, right? Isn't tryptophan the drug in chicken and turkey that makes you all sleepy and stuff? Hey, there's Chris. Thanks, sir. Um, and historically, this is actually, if you're like, well, I want to learn something new today. Historically, and actually we even Googled it. You want to do some. The good part about the internet is all you got to do is search. But if you just go irrational exuberance, you can see I already did this search earlier today. This was and I can't believe this is like almost 20 years ago now. Like, Jesus H. Christ, where the hell does the time go? Although this pre-search, I don't know whether I really like this search engine. I've noticed it doesn't really work that well. Anyway, we'll go back over to the Goog and put that in there. Irrational exuberance. So this was a famous speech by Alan Greenspan. And like literally the day he made the speech, the next day the market fell like 4 or 5%. It's not really so much that it fell because of the speech, and it was really more a function of usually what ends up happening in the market is there's some sort of pivot low put in through that Halloween event, right? You've heard a million times from me, buy when it snows, right? We talked about how this year there was snow on the pumpkins on people's front porches. That actually started to snow there. And of course, you don't really want to take profits on those purchases and stuff until the spring. But usually, what ends up happening is that first week of December, there's a bit of a hangover. Think of it as like people bid up stocks in the anticipation of the Thanksgiving holiday weekend. Of course, when you're going back to family and sitting around the table, and of course, dad doesn't want to sit there moping about the fact that his stock portfolio is on its lows. I think to a certain degree, they bid this thing up just so that at that turkey dinner, people are, dad's relatively happy because his stock account is up. But also too, the whole sort of Black Friday, that's spending, people actually spending money in the economy. I was talking to one of our day traders this morning that used to work in a grocery store, and he said the absolute worst day of the year to ever work in a grocery store is the day before Thanksgiving because it's absolute insanity. So the consumer is spending money, right? Remember, the stock market is nothing more than just a proxy for how society feels. Not a big surprise. Black Monday, or Black Friday, Cyber Monday, Turkey Day, family getting together. Let's all wrap ourselves in the flag. Aren't we wonderful American capitalists? Blah 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 blah. Not a big surprise. But once that's done, then the question is, and in a weird sort of way, they've set up this capitalist machine that really we've kind of with the first week or so of December, we kind of enter into a bit of a vacuum. And quite often the market, it's not really like it crashes. It's just maybe we went just a little bit too far, a little too fast. I mean, this is supposed to rise at like an 11% annual rate. That's 8% capital gains and 3% dividends. And I mean, geez, what's the move here just off of these October lows? That's got to be well over 8% right there. That's a 12% rally off of these lows. So is that sustainable over time? Not really. And if anything, you see 200 SMA, it would just make sense that over the next week or two, we work our way back down, probably against this trend line, tag 200 SMA, probably go after the liquidity pool against these lows, and set ourselves up following the Thanksgiving event, getting ready for the Christmas holiday season, whatever that looks like. So, with all that said, no sell signals here per se, but we should understand the writing on the walls. You heard Brian ranting away there, and you can see we don't actually have any confirmed divergence here yet. But if we start slipping below, maybe the selling in NVIDIA starts picking up, the oil market comes back, oil goes up, tech goes down. And if these bear divs do start actually firing, then we probably start looking for M tops to look for shorts. But that's not now. There's no sell signal there just yet. I suppose finishing off this free broadcast, talking a little bit about Bitcoin. We did have, of course, CZ, that news. I think that's actually pretty significant. Might also be a bit of a catalyst in the short term. We have talked quite a bit about how crypto has been quite uppy. But we come back to the board, and I mean, you tell me, what color do you see on the board here? And I've said this the other day. I mean, if these damn things keep running up and the money is pouring into the altcoins, at some point Bitcoin says, hey, you know what? I'm the one who's actually really the shit here. So get out of my way. I want to rally. Rah, rah, rah. I don't know. I mean, what concerns me immensely about the crypto space, and it doesn't really matter, we can pick almost any of these names. What's a really good one? I think that's actually some of these ones that I'm trying to buy, I think they're really good. So like Mana, for example, Paris Hilton, the whole thing. I mean, you can see where I want to be long. I mean, the good part about it is you guys either have taken the education program, or you watch the Coinigy videos, or you watch these free videos, and I mean, you know what W's look like. You know what's going to get Brian all excited. So you can see where you want to be a buyer. Do I want to be a buyer right here? Not really. We do already start to have some bearish structure starting to form here. So, if this is trend continuation, then what I would have to do is draw up just basic statistical studies. Want to see at least 33%, but no more than 66% correction. So that's okay. And then what I want to see is one low, two lows, three lows, and then a breakout. And ideally, what I'd love to see is that this final W comes on the other side of some sort of down trend line, right? So there's your down trend line. And if something develops like this, then I can start thinking trend continuation. But as it stands right now, it's too early for that. And I think we're actually still in correction mode on a lot of these names. And I'm more than happy to be a buyer if they want to dump this stuff back down against these original bottoms. I'll be more than happy to step in and buy here, but I can't really be a buyer here. And if anything, had you bought off of the bottom, I really hope to goodness you are paying yourself for your hard-earned effort. I mean, this is basically what we do here. We want to buy low. We want to sell high. You don't have to sell everything, but at the very least, just try and get yourself into a risk-free trade. So then if these lows don't actually hold, then you don't get hurt being in the other stuff. Now, there are some people that would take some profits on this move up top and then maybe put their stop at scratch wherever they did buy the original purchase, and then they don't get hurt on the other half. Other people, I'm going to buy, sell halves on doubles, that kind of thing. And I don't care what happens to the rest of it. It might even go to new lows. I have no risk on the trade. So that's what I'd really like to see everybody sort of get to that point of doing that. Once you're in that risk-free trades, well, you could take the coins, download them on a USB device, go bury them in the backyard, and who cares? Come back a year or two from now, and you might be worth millions of dollars. You just don't know in this game. So, looks like the crypto market is still catching a bit. Is this almost like a relief? All right, well, CZ did do that settlement. Now the sky is clear. And, if these actual individual, and this is the interesting thing about this space is I don't hear too much about these regulators shitting on the actual coins themselves. I mean, yeah, there are some stories like, well, like Steam It and stuff like that. That was a very interesting story with the SEC and stuff. But on balance, what I'm hearing more is that these regulators are shitting on these centralized exchanges. And really, I think that they're just acting as agents for the finks of the world that basically want to corner this monopoly, and they don't want anybody else taking any revenue. They want all the revenue for themselves. You as an individual, is that even part of your sort of mindset here? I don't know. I actually don't think so. I mean, you look at crazy ideas like Fjord. If you can force yourself to come in and just buy off the bottoms and maybe sell halves on doubles, triples, whatever. I mean, I think it's critical, and all of the audience, if you're playing crypto, not your keys, not your coins. Don't fall into the sort of the convenient habit of just leaving the coins on these centralized exchanges because, frankly speaking, I think they're all very vulnerable. I suppose maybe, like Coinbase is now, I think, basically been deemed by US regulators as the place that they're going to allow. And I'm sure Mr. Fink is a big shareholder of Coinbase and all that kind of stuff, but there's no, I mean, you can play this crypto space and make tons and tons of money of this, and you don't have to play any of that centralized exchange stuff. An old dinosaur like me, it's a pain in the butt doing this ledger thing. But at the same time, too, or Trezor or whatever cold storage device you want to use, I think that's if you're going to play this game and you want to make this kind of money on here, I think that's that's a skill set that you have to teach yourself. It's a pain in the butt, but I mean, hell, if you bought this thing at $1 and you're selling your $5-6, nothing to do with centralized exchanges. And money is money is money. So, do you want to participate? And if it's one thing that I absolutely love about TRI is we have this community, and we have a killer community of really, really good analysts. Our CTO is one of the best crypto analysts I've ever met in the entire time that I've been in this space. And I think that, really the site subscription and the access to Sjord's brain here is worth the subscription unto itself, on top of all the other toys and stuff that we have in our membership. So anyway, I'll leave the rant at that. I suppose we could carry on this conversation in the after party. Can't have too long of an after party here today because actually we do have anybody who is here in Vancouver. Had a gentleman come in from the Midwest. I haven't seen him since we did videos together a few years ago. So we're going to get together for lunch, and I had about half a dozen other people all say, hey, can I participate in the lunch? So I'm going to have to cut out kind of earlier today to make sure that I get there for that lunch date. And then, of course, we have the Coinigy show tonight, so I've got a pretty busy afternoon ahead of me. So I think we'll leave the free broadcast at that. I hope you got some value out of this. It's encouraging to see quite a bit of green on the screen. Let's keep an eye on number one. Do we actually see these names break out to new highs? Or do we see something like they take it into the weekend and then all of a sudden things like M's start to come in here? If you see the M's actually come in here, keep in mind this is going to be a holiday weekend, so there's going to be a little bit of effery in the market. I think you better cool your jets. And just like this name, just like the other names I said, you got no business chasing this thing up top here. You go and buy up here, you're asking for trouble. So it's just really a question of, did you buy where you were supposed to buy? And are you ringing the register now? At least a little bit. All right, get those risk-free trades. So, okay, let's leave it at that. Have yourselves a great day. We'll do the Coinigy show tonight. So, if you want some content over the weekend, you can check that out as well. We'll do a show on Sunday. So, well, it should be a bit of content to chew on. And, as I said, don't really have any breaks in the market just yet. I mean, we're teetering, don't get me wrong. The M's, look how close we came to firing an M here last night. The algo, of course, is not happy here at all right now. We're probably very close to the end of this move. We just haven't broken yet. So I'm not going to put a fork in her just yet. But what I would definitely say is, for God's sakes, don't chase. Don't chase. Don't chase. Don't bloody chase. All right. Have yourselves a great day. Happy Thanksgiving, everybody. If you can take advantage of the Black Friday deals, I would highly encourage you to do so, whether it be for the pro package or for the school program. Slow and steady wins the race. And if you can come out to that luncheon in about 3.5 hours or so in Steveston, you better PM me quick for directions, because I'm going to be leaving here in about 2.5 hours for that event. All right. Have yourselves a great day. All the best. And bye for now.